I welcome all of you. This is Veer Maheshwar Charitable Trust Latur organizing daily international webinar series. In this series, we are daily listening from the speakers from India and abroad. Every day, we are gaining knowledge on different topics. In this series, today we have also invited the speaker Debabani Mukherjee madam, who is media educator and ex-head department of media science and journalism, Brainware University, Barasat, Kolkata. And her topic is the essence of storytelling. Before that, she also accepted our invitation and delivered the topic. Again, we invited her because she related to our educational field. We are mostly educators. At the same time, we are also parents. The essence of storytelling is the topic, how it supports to our teaching learning for oral development of students. She will speak. I welcome you, ma'am, and all the participants, those are joined here. And I request you, you can start your speech. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone. Good evening, uh, Dr. BETKAR, and the other participants who are present in this webinar series. I'm really humbled for this invitation by Dr. BETKAR. And today I shall just share a little bit of my knowledge based on the essence of storytelling, how it influences our teaching part with the aspirants. Now, before I start the program, I'll just briefly introduce myself. As said, I am a media educator, and I have been teaching for the last 30 years, been in the education fraternity. And I have been teaching in several parts of the country, regional and national, including Pandit Deendayal Petroleum University and Symbiosis Institute of Media and Communication, Pune. Right now, I was heading the department as in the capacity of assistant professor of Brainware University, Barasat, Kolkata. Prior to that, I have headed several other departments of media science and journalism, and I have traveled across the country on account of conferences and seminars and conclaves as in the capacity of a speaker, moderator, anchor. Apart from being a teacher, I have a family and one son who is pursuing his career with his PhD. And I personally love to act, means theater, sing, means songs, and read a lot of books, and of course, watch a lot of movies and OTT series. And especially, you can tell me I'm a movie and a theater buff. So I keep on watching them because though cinema and movies, these are called an allied media, yet I would say that they give us a lot of knowledge, good or bad, and it sends a lot of messages also, which we can implement into our practical lives. Thank you once again. With this, I would begin my topic for today. I would be talking for the next 25 minutes, and then I would keep the session open for any kind of question and answers from your end. So, storytelling, it is a very integral part of our lives. As soon as we are born, As soon as we start realizing that this is our mother, this is our father, our grandparents, our siblings, we get in touch with storytelling, which generally is narrated by our grandparents and by our parents. Keeping this in mind, we must also remember that the joint family concept, which we had before, is no more. We are all nuclear families now. So that grandma telling stories, grandpa telling stories is has become lesser and lesser down the ages. And now the entire thing of storytelling has been digitized. Like Aesop fables, like stories of Ramayana, stories of Mahabharata, stories of the Greek gods, uh, stories of Aesop's. Then is the morals, the other stories of life. Then there are a lot of stories in our Bengal, folk tales. These have been now concised into the digital form so that it becomes easier for the children to learn. If we make them sit in front of a laptop and we help them to watch the stories, we switch on, then what happens? The children get glued to those stories in a form which is called cartoon. But what we heard from our grandparents, our grandmothers and grandfathers were very living. We did not see cartoons. We imaginated very living characters, very vibrant characters, because it depended on the style and methodology of narration by them. They told stories on a very simple and a naive note to keep the children, to keep their grandchildren engaged. The parents did it in a very naive form to keep the children engaged. But now the time has moved on so fast that neither the parents have time nor the grandparents live with us. So, what we do, we use the digitized form of the cartoon form of the stories. So, basically, storytelling is one of the humanities, it is one of the oldest, and it is the basic practice. It is an universal practice. There was a time when we did not know how to write, the Paleolithic age, when human beings did not, when human beings were roaming around in the forests and were not so sophisticated and polished. They threw stones at each other, they burnt woods to make fire, they ate flesh, they burned the flesh of animals. Life was very rustic. And they did not have the practice of talking, they did not have a language, they did not have a point to learn. So, much before that, or maybe we can say at that point of time, this was the universal practice of storytelling in their own terms and own languages. So, people, when before writing, they use stories to explain the mysteries of nature. Nature was the preliminary factor. People used the trees, the sky, the water, the flowers, the butterflies, the birds to form a story and narrate it to their students, narrate it to their children. They preserved knowledge from them. Who preserved knowledge? The students or the children. They preserved knowledge from what they got to know from their elders, which gave them values, helped to build them their value system, and build a community. We got to learn the good and the bad, the good and the evil, the truth and the lies through these stories. Today, when we talk about a story teaching pattern in class, we try to stick to that into a syllabus and curriculum. But story teaching pattern is not engaged within the syllabus or the curriculum. Giving an example of life, giving an example of a story which is related to the curriculum is also very important to engage the student and enhance them and enrich them with knowledge. So, when storytelling is a making process, to make a proper student out of the box, to create interest in the class, to make them happy, to give them interest, and to energize the class. It is often seen in a classroom. We are all teachers here, so in a classroom, it is often seen that the backbenchers, the last benchers, they go often into sleep. They doze off, they sleep, they divert their concentration into something else. It is just because they don't find the energy. They don't find the energy to listen to the faculty. Because if I am in the class and I am persistently harping on the curriculum, the syllabus, to finish off my area of work, first of all, this will affect the children as the subject media is professional and different. It is new to them. Secondly, continuous talking in that pattern without any methodology or a melodrama or in a dramatic form will definitely divert their attention. So there should be a coherence. There should be a coherence while we talk. We take scattered events, we will take scattered events and shape them into a beginning, middle, and end. So the topic will be covered, the content will be substantial, and the presentation, whether through a PPT or not through a PPT, or maybe it is verbal, should be that interesting to give them a structure of beginning of the chapter, middle of the chapter, and end of the chapter. Next is, once the coherence is done, we come to interpretation. So, what is interpretation? Interpretation is something that will explain what has happened and why it has happened. It is not just it has happened. Suppose right now in Bengal, we are very concerned about this SIR. SIR. SIR is the secret information report because we are heading towards an election in 2026. So while we are going through this process in a very intricate and detailed process of SIR, we can see that the BLOs, those who are helping us in filling the forms, they are getting into trouble. And there are very many names who are living, present, has voted in 2002 or maybe 2003, and has been consistently staying in the state. Their names are missing. So this is generating a panic, and already many people have committed suicide. Now, we will share this story in the class that they have committed suicide. But why have they committed suicide? They must have committed suicide because they can't find their names anywhere, though they have been staying in this state for, say, around a 40 number of years. Secondly, it may be so they have traveled from Bangladesh with a visa which has completed its tenure and they have not revived the visa. Now they are into a tensed moment that we will be caught and sent back to Bangladesh, knowing very well that Bangladesh is not at all in a hunky-dory situation. So this is an interpretation of the story, not only just stating that people are committing suicide. When we say that people are committing suicide, it has happened. But to explain the students the reason why they are committing suicide is important. That is where the interpretation stays. Next point is identity. Personal stories become a part of how we understand ourselves and others. If we take little stories of Ramayana and Mahabharata, the epics, if we take stories from Iliad and Odyssey, the Greek epics, we can identify ourselves and we can also think about the good and the bad. That we talk about the mythology, that we talk about the Indian culture system, the heritage of India, that India consists of 70,000 monks, actually inculcates into our minds, into the minds of the students, into the minds of the children of our heritage, and how they should develop themselves. Of course, we think of developing ourselves in a very positive note, but keeping in mind living in this Kali Yuga, it is not possible to be always very positive. On and often, we get into the negative mode and we think that whatever we have learned, whatever value system we have developed with, is not correct. As a teacher, it is our duty to infringe into the minds of the aspirants, the students, or our children that these stories which has hailed over the years, which has come down over the years, has helped us to make ourselves understandable. Like when we talk about Ramayana, a small story from Ramayana, there used to be a lady called Sabari. She had waited for Lord Rama. She had waited to visit Lord Rama over a sorry, over a couple of years, not a couple of years, over n number of years, that Lord Rama will come to her and she will feed him with whatever she has kept for him. And the most interesting part of her was every day she used to pick fruits from the trees, taste it, whether it is good taste or bad taste. And then she used to keep the good ones for Lord Rama and throw away the bad ones. So one day, Lord Rama did visit her when the situation came up, and she handed over that plate of fruits to him, that I have been waiting for you and I have collected all these fruits for you, sorry, to savor it, to savor it. Now, see, the point of notifying is, notifying is, I have a bad cough and cold because of this weather. Uh, the point to be noted is she half ate those fruits. Why did she eat? She ate because she wanted to know whether those fruits were good or bad, whether they are fresh or decomposed. Because Ram was her Lord, and she did not want her Lord to savor the decomposed fruits. So, this is actually how she worshipped Ram with all her bhakti. For us, if you ask us, when we sit for a puja, when we go for prayers, what do we do? Do we eat the fruits? Do we taste the fruits? No. We collect it from the market, wash it, and offer it to our lords, offer it to our deities. Why can't we taste it? We don't have that level of bhakti and the process of worship. We are still afraid from within that this is our Lord, we should not do this. But Sabari, she was so confident in her belief. She was so betrothed to her Lord that she took this chance every day to taste the fruit and keep it for Lord Rama. So this is a story which can develop the essence of value system, the value system of the moral in between a child, a student, or whosoever it is. Next is the identity of the storytelling. Now, the personal stories, these become very understandable. That I narrated one small story, it has become understandable to you right now. Or if I'm in front of the class, understandable to the students that we have to lead our lives in such a way. Whatever we do should be true. It should come from the heart. If we don't feel the truth, then let's not do it. Now, by arranging those experiences into a narrative form, This storytelling system, it what it actually does, it offers a lens. Where do we use a lens? In a camera. Why? Through the lens, we capture a picture. So we offer a lens through which we understand the world, the inception from where we have come, the growth of the world, and how it has come to this state. Now, there is an emotional quotient of storytelling also. It is to evolve an empathy, a touch, a feeling. It often happens, there are so many stories. While we are defining a chapter, we add on little stories into them, which gives us empathy. And it also allows the audience to feel how the characters felt. As we know the story of Ekalavya and Dronacharya, Ekalavya, to prove himself that he was ardently close to Dronacharya, had cut off his right hand thumb. This was intentionally done so that he could never be a bow and arrow expert like Arjuna. Arjuna should always be supreme, while Ekalavya was much better than Arjuna. So, as Ekalavya came from a different background, a different race, he had kept his race a little away, not a little away, he had kept aside. It was under the carpet where he had come from, and he became a disciple of Dronacharya in order to learn how to shoot a bow and arrow. While it was discovered that he has kept his identity hidden, Dronacharya got furious. Though Dronacharya knew that he was an expert in this field, he got furious. And when Ekalavya asked him for a Guru Dakshina, that's what Guru Dakshina should I give you? He said that you cut your right thumb intentionally. Ekalavya knew that he was ruining his life, but he did what his Guru said. Now, this kind of story, he raises the empathy and allows the audience to feel what the characters feel. It stimulates curiosity, suspense, joy, sadness, and hope. Then again, it creates an emotional resonance. When you listen to this, you feel so sorry for Ekalavya that just to elevate Arjun, and just because Ekalavya was not from the particular race or culture or background, he had to suffer. So we create an emotional resonance that lasts in our memory, and we feel sad for him. This kind of storytelling acts as a bridge between people also. How? Because it builds a connection by revealing universal human truths. It promotes understanding where across different cultures, the generation and the beliefs. Our stories are all the same, but it is narrated in different ways, in different parts of the country. Sir, could you give me 1 second? I'll just need a sip of water. Hello, am I audible? Okay. So what we were discussing that this storytelling creates a bridge between people across the country, across the globe, in different states, in different modes, and through different modes, it reveals universal human truth. The understanding also delivers different culture across generations and beliefs. And it encourages to the listening as each story offers insight into another's world. So the storyline pattern of teaching motivates and modulates, encourages, enriches any section of people. It can be senior ones, it can be junior ones, it can be friends within friends, it can be within children, anywhere. It creates a bridge to make people understand what they want to learn and what they are learning from the world. Next is we will talk about the structure that makes stories work. There are several characters in all stories who are struggling for something. If we get into the Aesop's fables also, there are also characters who struggle, and end of the struggle they come to a point where they reach the truth or the belief. But before that, they do a lot of struggle. If you take an example of the folk tales, the different folks of the different states of the country, if you take example of those, you will see that initially to bring the faith for the deities or faith for the programs, what happens? The people, the characters over there are struggling. Gradually they get enlightened and they understand the truth, the meaning, and the existence of the story. Transformation of characters. What happens when characters transform? We know Lord Rama is the Lord. He is an avatar of Vishnu. But when, with a matured brain, we start cross cutting Lord Rama, we feel that at some points he was selfish. He was selfish. He was not right with his wife. He was ardent with his father towards his family, but not right with his wife. He did not have complete faith in his wife. He pushed her into trouble. Once she was relieved, once she was kidnapped by Ravan, as we know, and once she was brought from there after a huge battle, uh, listening to his countrymen, Lord Rama pushed her into the forest. We feel so sorry for Sita. We feel sorry for her. But if we rewind it and think that this was just an example of learning, that simple human thoughts who don't think much thinks that Sita was in Lanka, so she must have been with Ravan for some time, which means that she was not perfect, correct towards Rama, who was her husband. So if this is so, she has to prove a point, or else she has to go somewhere else. Now, these are the transformation of characters as we see, as we go into the depth of the story while teaching in the class. Next is the theme that reflects deeper message or lesson. The theme is very important. The theme of the story, the theme of the chapter, the theme of the chapter means what is in the curriculum is very important. And it is also to be kept in mind that there are certain areas which are very difficult for the students, for the children to understand. When a child is at the age of 4, he or she learns about Ramayana in a different note. When the child is 10, thinks in a different way. When at 20, another way. When at 40, at another way. And when at 60, he thinks in a complete different way. This part of thinking gradually and growing, it comes only with the maturity. But the story has been embedded and seeded inside into the heart of the child once he or she is born. It has already been embedded. Now this keeps on rotating, the thought keeps on revolving. Similarly, when we're teaching in a class a particular chapter of media to the students, we have to basically push the seeds. We have to basically pour the seeds into their hearts, the basic knowledge of media. Then only we can help them to reap the seeds, and then help them to build a big tree so that they can harvest the fruits. They can pluck the fruits. Now, storytelling next, it's a tool for teaching, which I've been consistently saying, and influencing the generation. They illustrate principles instead of listening facts. What happens when we are talking in a storytelling pattern? We illustrate certain principles, but in a mode where the students would be listening. Principles are always different, principles are always difficult. In order to embed the concept of the principles into their vibrant minds, into their child minds, we need to motivate the principle into listening facts. They simplify complex ideas without oversimplifying them. What we do, we simplify complex ideas. We cannot immediately tell them that yes, what happened in Ramayana, each segment of Ramayana was correct. We have to decode, we have to simplify what has happened in Ramayana in a simpler form, in a less complex form, to make them first understand the concept of writing an epic. Why the epic has become so important in our lives. Why has mythology become so important in our lives? That has to be embedded. Why is the subject in media important in our lives? That has to be embedded. And to embed that, the complex composition of everything should be made more linear so they can understand. Now, the storytelling pattern allows audiences to remember information more easily. What happens the when you talk about the complex patterns? They refuse to listen. They divert. As I said in the beginning of the session, they divert. So let us make it simple. Let us make it interesting. Let us give us a PowerPoint presentation. Or let us help them by narrating different stories which carries the same meaning, the same principles, so that they can understand very easily. The storytelling pattern offers models of choices, the different consequences and the moral dilemmas. So what is the storytelling essence containing? It is containing the models of choices. Which kind of story affects what and how? Whether they're becoming violent. Today's OTT series, some series, they bring up the realities of life in a violent way. Not in a violent way. The violence has happened. They want to imitate the same violence, like police files. It is not necessary that they are affecting the society, the adults, the adolescents, on a correct note. Maybe so that they are affecting them in a wrong way. They also feel that we can do this way and we can get away easily. So just by broadcasting police files or CID, we not only talk about the different activities that are happening, the different murders, the different kinds of the ways of rape, the different murders, conflicts, whatever is happening very easily. These are deep psychological things which lead to such performances. So we have to keep in mind that apart from making them learn that you should not do this, we should not also show or explicit certain so much of violence which affects them in other ways. Who are the them? The audience. the generations who are watching, who all thinks that this way of life is correct and we can live happily. I'll come to the last point of this essence of storytelling, that the storytelling helps us to bring in the belief. They not only inspire, they can move us to the wrong direction also. That is the reason we have to be very careful while narrating a story in the class. Once we narrate a story in the class related to our topic, we need to analyze the story for the sake of the benefit of the children. We help them to imagine. Today's generation, they don't imagine. They are Gen Z, they are always on mobiles. They don't imagine. They keep themselves busy with that. So we, the mentors, we, the teachers, can help them to imagine, help them to be creative, plead them to read books, which they don't, because they are into a digitized world. They get all forms of stories in a cartoon form, which is easy to watch. And be empathetic and compassionate towards them. Ideally, that they are taking birth in this age of Gen Z, in this era where everything is gradually becoming robotish, though we are very proud and we are consistently talking about artificial intelligence, deep down we know that we are gradually becoming robotish. Becoming a robot is nothing very much elaboratively uh, happy a situation. Robot is a robot which is created by human brain. But will a robot carry some empathy, some compassion, some emotion? No. So in that case, what happens when we talk to our children? Yes, they have to work on AI. They have to get adopted to the system of AI as it is running across the globe. But it should be also kept in mind for the teachers, especially, and the mentors, that robots are the end of this world. When everybody becomes a robot, the word emotion goes away, the flesh and blood goes away, and we are all machines. And machines cannot inspire, machines cannot imagine, machines cannot be creative, machines cannot have empathy, and machines cannot have a compassion. So, the essence of storytelling, keeping in mind these points, should be effectively and very intricately weaved towards the students, the children, the class, where we are standing on the platform as a mentor or a senior teacher. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Speech on the topic, the shares of storytelling. The dimensions we have given in the subject, and it will help for the overall development of the student. And the aspects we have given here, they can be adopted in our teaching learning for our class. Thank you. And I request all the participants to unmute and can discuss with our resource person, madam. At the same time, the group link is available in the group. After the discussion section, you can reach to the group or fill in the feedback link. Thank you.
Dear participants, if you have any questions, if you have any doubts, you're most. Yes, I've got one question from Ma'am Himamalini. That how can animated, ma'am, could you repeat the question, please?
Yes, good evening, ma'am.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
want to know what is the importance of the animated creatures in the storytelling, ma'am. How far it plays a vital role, because nowadays the students or the childrens, they're very much interested only with animated creatures and not with the normal storytelling or everything.
Yeah,
So,
yes,
so
yes. So,
that's what, ma'am.
yeah, thank you, ma'am, for your this is a very interesting questions. these animated creatures, basically the animals, which we see in the Panchatantra, you know, they are placed in place of human beings. In reality, do animals talk? No. They have different ways of expressing. They bark, they mew, they quack, they trump. So, but they don't talk. But when we watch Panchatantra, which is consisted of different kinds of animals like a monkey, a deer, a rabbit, a tortoise, a lion, an elephant, a tiger, we get to see that these animals are expressing themselves, which is in an animated form, about the good and bad of life. So, this sends a message to the children that if the animals can diversify the good and the bad, if they can stick together and live a good life in a forest, then why can't we? They correlate with the animals. When a child is born, what we do, we show them a crow, we show them this is a tiger, this is a wolf, this is an elephant, this is a bird. So they get accustomed to these kind of living beings, and when they see those animated creatures, they can relate to that very easily, and they learn it from them. Am I clear, ma'am?
Yes, yes. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Hema Marini, madam. If anyone wants to discuss, we can discuss with the resource person. This is question and answer. Our discussion section is ongoing.
Any other question from dear listeners? We are all professors. I understand we are all professors and teachers of different colleges and universities across the country. And I'm really grateful to Professor Bedkar, who has created such a platform where we can interact so easily. It is not possible to physically interact. So, thanks to the digital world, the online platform where we interact and get to know each other. We get to know each other. So, if you have any question, any query, it is just a simple learning. We are actually discussing. It is not that I am teaching. It is just a discussion where we, both ends, we gain some knowledge and we can help the students. So, if you have any questions, you can please ask me.
Thank you, ma'am. I think you are suffering from cold. Still,
Yes.
please.
Hello.
Dr. Shukla has raised a hand. Yes, sir.
Good evening, ma'am. Good evening, Dr. Bedkar, sir, principal, sir. Wonderful presentation, and definitely storytelling is having a great potential. It creates an impact on the mind of the audience. And I'm from the medical field, and in our point of view, the storytelling is like presentation of a case or something.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
talking about the schizophrenic patient. I remember one of the very important aspects, the schizophrenic patient, he's narrating his own story, and how he was feeling and how he has come out of this condition.
Yes.
So I think it has a great potential.
Yes.
It is not just you'll find the stories are like they're giving information, but they're learning, and
Yes.
I feel that it creates a great importance. If reading just a book and reading the symptoms and signs of this disease, it will not create much impact. But I remember one of the wonderful presentation of one of the author, the psychiatrist, and he has created such a great, as if he's narrating, the patient is narrating symptoms, and at the end he said the patient was suffering with schizophrenia, and I remember, all signs and symptoms very easily. So it has a very great potential. Thank you for your wonderful presentation. And one thing I want to ask, just with your views about this, that storytelling, sometimes it should not Many of the times it happens that people consider it as just a story, and they are not taking anything from it. So how you can create, more impactful that, and it should be the reality. It should not be
Yeah, it
like,
should not be too imaginative and too fantasizing. It should have the
yeah,
realistic sense also.
most of the time it happens that, the realize that this is not a true and why
Yes,
to act like
yes,
this. So
yes,
how to
yes,
get, away from this kind of things. Thank you.
yes, yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. I think you are suffering from cold, so that's why you are feeling something hard to speak. So we are thankful to you. In future, also you will be invited as a speaker here. Again,
Okay,
thank
sir.
you for accepting our invitation and joining here as a speaker on the story of issues of storytelling topic. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for listening passionately. And with your everybody is so busy, so everybody has still fetched out some time to listen to my speech. Thank you. Hope to meet you all in near future. And once again, a big thank you to Professor Betkar for allowing me to speak on this international platform. Have a good evening, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.